So welcome to another episode of the Welcome Podcast, and I have a really special guest from Penwortham Girls High School, the head teacher herself. She's an absolutely wonderful head teacher, and here you are. Welcome to the Welcome Podcast, Sharon.
Thanks for inviting me on this podcast today, Nita, and it's very nice of you to come into our school, and hopefully we'll be able to give some good information that the viewers will enjoy hearing.
Yeah. And have you had a busy day today? And I know high school is always so unpredictable. You can never plan your day. Has it been one of those days today, or has it been a calmer morning?
It's been a calm day. Obviously, we have 800 students here at Penwortham Girls, but we've had a really good day so far. So, yeah.
And the weather's been wonderful as well, hasn't it?
Chilly but sunny.
Chilly but sunny. We like a bit of sunshine.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, this podcast is to give guidance to asylum seeker families and children who are starting their educational journey. Now they enter the phase of secondary education. I really would we would really love to know what the outline is, or what an experience typically looks like for asylum seeker families and students who first enter the secondary education phase.
Yeah. So all students at Penwortham Girls High School will come into year 7 at the start, and it is a little bit different from primary school. So if you're kind of used to that primary environment, we'll have lots of different subjects in lots of different rooms with lots of different teachers, and clearly that can be a little bit confusing, but we do put a lot of support in to make sure people can navigate their way around school. So you'll do lots of different subjects like art and science and food, things like technology and computing.
Wow.
And you'll study what we call the Key Stage 3 curriculum. So in our school and in every school, we offer the full national curriculum. So you'll study a really broad range of subjects, and essentially get that sort of broad-based education. Things like German and French we also do at our school.
Wow.
Other schools might do Spanish or Italian, but clearly, as I said, every school will follow that national curriculum. So it doesn't matter whether it's Penwortham Girls or another school, you will have a broad range of subjects. Here at Penwortham Girls, you would do that from year 7, 8 and 9. And then you would pick some options. And at that point, you would pick maybe your favourite subjects or subjects that you really want to take further. And then you would study GCSEs. And clearly, you would do that in year 10 and 11. And at that point, it does become a little bit more academic. There would be an expectation that students would do homework. That means working at home. Some of that work might be online. So we do a lot of online homeworks these days. But clearly, as I said, that becomes a more academic phase within school. One of the two biggest subjects really are English and maths, because they really are important in terms of college and that sort of passageway on to applying for jobs. So we do spend a lot of curriculum time on English and maths here at Penwortham Girls, as most schools would.
Yeah. You mentioned something really interesting, as they that's quite a stark difference. Those might ask, what is the difference between primary and secondary? And you mentioned you start on the Key Stage 3 national curriculum. Is that more difficult? Is it more challenging? And especially for those who have perhaps arrived into a high school, never been to primary school, and arrive, at the age of year 7. What does their kind of journey look like? And because I assume there's a lot of kind of they need quite a lot of support as well if English is not their first language.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at primary school you might have one teacher in one classroom teaching art and music throughout the week, whereas in secondary schools it tends to be you would have a specialist teacher, so you'd probably get a chance to do maybe a little bit more practical work in music, actually play an instrument, in art actually do different mediums of art, so things like pottery, sculpture, painting and drawing, and we do have in secondary school just more facilities because you can actually do science experiments. And sometimes we do get primary schools to come in and use our facilities because we're a bigger school and we've just got more resources maybe that primary schools wouldn't have. So in terms of would it be harder, I think it's probably just different. Clearly, as I said, the national curriculum is meant to follow age-related expectations. expectations. So at the end of primary school, there's a sort of level, if you like, in your educational journey that you should reach, so that when you come here, you then start on that next phase. Sometimes students would come here and they might struggle with reading. So we do have a programme called Think and Reading here at Penwitham Girls. Other schools will have similar programmes to support students who need just that little bit of extra time to just learn how to read and access language. Now, we do have some students who have English as an additional language, and we do tap into support from Lancashire County Council to actually give some intensive, maybe a few hours a week, extra tuition to help students who English is not a first language for, sort of be accelerated into learning English at a faster rate so that they can access that whole curriculum, because that might be a bit of a barrier. And as I said, that is something that all schools would do to support their English as an additional language learners. So, we've also started doing a little bit of support with numeracy, because we also appreciate English is important, but to be able to access all subjects at GCSE, you also have to have those numeracy skills as well. So we want to promote both of those.
Yeah, and just for those who are listening, it really is independent. You really very quickly become independent in high school, because in primary school, like you said, you're usually set in one classroom, you have one teacher, whereas you're managing you get a timetable, you've got to get yourself to class, you've got to really find your way around, and manage that, and manage your homework, as you mentioned. We'll go on to that in just a moment. You briefly mentioned about some of the resources and activities, support systems that are available. Could you elaborate on that as well? Because of course in high school we've got it's a different ball game, isn't it, in terms of activities throughout the day. It's for up to students to sign on to them, manage their own pay, manage their own homework, for example, and having access to the library. It's up to you to what you read. So just more of an outline, or more information about the resources and support that's and activities that are available to students.
Yeah. So when a student comes here in year 7, it's really difficult to organise yourself. There's just so much more going on. So we use an app called Class Charts, and some schools might use that or use different ones. But it's a way of recording what the homework is. So the teacher will always put that homework on that website or app, so that if you're struggling or you're not sure, you can log on. And also parents can log on to that as well. So they can obviously speak to their daughter at Penwitham Girls just about what homework they have, and help support them just with their organisation. So I think when you first start here, it is a bit of a massive transition from primary. Clearly, as I said, we have 800 students here at Penwitham Girls High School. So you're in this massive big environment, and you're maybe one person who's come on your own. So to try and really help people bond and make friends, we have lots of lunchtime clubs. So I'm just looking down our list here.
Yes.
So we have things like Sparks Maths Club, which excites me, as I'm a bit of a maths fan. Geography Society. We have drama, keyboard club. We have Ancient Rome Club, Stock Market Club, lots of music ones, debating, and also quite sporty ones as well. So things like playing badminton club. We also have a press gang where students write news articles, and we publish them in the school newsletter. So hopefully a lot there to tempt someone to join, and they're all free, but also make some friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about in terms of after school clubs as well? Can students access them as well?
Yeah, so we do run some after school. So there's a STEM club, table tennis club, badminton, football, and also book club. Our school library is also open, I think, till 4:15 every night. So for a student who might need to get a few buses home, or they're waiting to get picked up, there is that sort of free access to the library after school. So if they want to catch up on homework, or just need to spend that little bit of extra time in school for transport issues, we have that little bit of a cushion at the end of the school day.
Fabulous. And this is the big question. What are the expectations of and I'm going to take asylum seeker students, and how can the families support them? So when I mean expectations, a lot of the children may most likely have never been to a UK school or a UK style school, or may not have even been in any education. So what expectations do you have of them, and how can the family support them?
I think, in terms of all schools, attendance and punctuality is really important. So, when you're new to an area and you are looking for a school, you need to think about things like transport, because lots of schools are in busy areas, and clearly sometimes that's a positive and a negative. So there may be some good transport links in terms of buses, but in terms of maybe driving a car and parking, those are practicalities. We are on a busy main road. But, we expect students to be here at 8:45 every day, and every school will have a start time and an end time. So ours is 3:20. Attendance is really important. If you're going to make progress in any school, you need to attend, because clearly, as I said, you're gaining knowledge every day. And if you're not here every day, you're going to miss those sort of steps along the path. And it becomes really difficult then to catch up. And clearly, in terms of making students feel confident and making them feel that they can achieve, attendance is massively important. So in terms of parents supporting the school and their son or daughter, attendance is absolutely vital. We do have a school uniform. All schools have a school uniform. Some schools would have a blazer and a tie, and they would have quite a formal school uniform. We have a sort of a red jumper and a branded skirt and trousers. So we don't have the tie and the blazer, so ours is a bit less formal, but we still have the expectation that students would wear that with pride and be part of our school community. Obviously, as I said, in terms of punctuality through the day, we have 5 lessons that last for an hour at a time. So students then have to be quite organised to find their way around school. But clearly at the beginning, we are a little bit understanding that it is a big building, but over time we would expect students to be on time and just be prepared for the day. So that's again where class charts is really important, because students can check their timetables, see what they've got the next day, and a parent might help them get their bag ready and pack it so they've got the right books, and just make sure that that they are ready to go when they come here. And it just makes that start of the day very positive and not stressed. So the organisation between the parents and the child is really supported by things like class charts. It just helps them get ready for the day.
Yeah, just in regards to homework, deadlines, food canteen, what can they expect of that, and what are the expectations for students, especially with homework and meeting deadlines and detentions and the dreaded detentions.
Yeah. So with detentions, we have them. All schools have them. That's part of any school's routine, but we do help students get, in terms of going back to class charts, they are all recorded on there, so a parent can check when a student has a detention, what it's for, ask their son or daughter why they've got this detention, and if it's something like organisation or homework, then potentially they can help support them at home. We have detentions at break time, lunchtime, sometimes after school. It depends what the concern is about, but we hope people don't spend too much time in detention, because clear, but we do have detentions, as I said, as all schools do. In terms of our canteen, we've got a broad range of foods. So we have foods that are meat-free foods, we have halal foods, we have gluten-free foods, and that's because our catering service is part of Lancashire County Council, so we use their recommendations and their menu every week to serve to our students.
Fantastic. And from a social and mental health perspective, what challenges might an asylum seeker student face, and what support is available? So if you have any examples as well, please do share them.
Yeah, I think any student coming to a school which has 800 students in it, it's that connection with others.
Yes.
So clearly we do have a lot of things like Friendship Club. We also have a full-time school counsellor.
Wow.
So if a student is struggling, they can have an appointment with the counsellor to discuss their needs. We also have a pastoral support worker. We have an area of school called Student Services. So if a student comes to school and they've got a uniform issue or just not having a great start to the day, they can go there and have a bit of one-on-one support just to kind of get them going and get them in a positive mindset for school.
Fantastic. And I know schools, not just your school, many schools are very big in terms of, from a social perspective, celebrating festivals, whether it's IWD or, I remember for Diwali, there was a special, assembly or a guest that came in, and even for Eid, there's so much acknowledgement, so much effort made to welcome the wider kind of community into the school. which is really, really lovely. Now, before we end, I always like to ask, our guests, is there any special message you have for the asylum seeker families and children who are watching this podcast, who are embarking on their secondary school journey? Is there any pieces of advice? Is there anything you'd like to tell them?
I think for me, being part of a school community, it's about sharing values. We have quite strong values here at Penwitham Girls High School, and one of those is about ambition. And it's not just about personal ambition, it's about ambition that everybody achieves, and we have a really safe and nurturing community. So, in terms of advice, it's really just go to the school and just immerse yourself in everything the school has to offer. Secondary schools are great places in terms of the resources and trips and clubs and opportunities they can offer students. And just as I said, immerse yourself in it. Take every opportunity you can. Communicate with the school and clearly, as I said, to embrace every day.
Absolutely. And just to summarize our conversation, as Sharon said, when you are entering secondary school, you're entering Key Stage 3. Another, it's different from the primary school. It's a curriculum where there is A, exciting, B, it probably is challenging, which is good, and there's so much more you explore, so many more subjects that you explore as well. Sharon mentioned about expectations, whether it's your punctuality, attendance, uniform, deadlines, also about all the clubs, fantastic clubs, and not just Penwitham Girls High School, but most schools will have lots of clubs available and support available for the students. And then when you go into year 9, you get the opportunity to choose your subjects, and then year 10 and year 9 is where you're preparing for your GCSE, and they will support you in your college form as well. And you have colleges also coming in. Sharon also mentioned that they also have a careers teach, don't you? Who will support them in potential career choices and what you may want to go into. So there's so many opportunity. It's about coming into your high school, as Sharon said, with an open mind, immersing yourself in the experience. What you'll find at the bottom of this video is a link to not just the school, but a link to the schools available in Lancashire, and we hope this podcast provides you with all the information, or this episode provides you with all the information that you need when you're entering chapter high school.
There's nothing we can't do.